Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Raimondo, thank you for being here today
Thank you.
and to discuss the Department of Commerce's fiscal year 2024 budget request. From your request summary, I see that the department is asking for $12.3 billion this fiscal year, a 11% increase over FY23 enacted. That's a fair bit of money. Do you believe the Department of Commerce should receive or spend unauthorized funds?
I mean, I would leave it to Congress to decide what to authorize and appropriate. What I can tell you is we are using and spending and investing the appropriated money in accordance with Congress's intent.
Okay. What is your department's current spending authorization?
I'll have to get you the number. I'll get back to you.
Okay. So you don't know?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. So you came today to request $12.3 billion from the American taxpayers, yet you don't know if and how much you're legally authorized to have.
I'm sure my team could tell me in a second.
Okay. Well, according to the Congressional Budget Office and this committee's fiscal year 2023 report, many of the department's bureaus and programs are currently not authorized, some for more than decades. Let me give you an example. The National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration has not been completely authorized since 1992. The National Weather Service since 1993. The National Telecommunications and Information Administration, 1993. The Bureau of Industry and Security, 94. The Economic Development Administration, 2008. And the National Institute of Standards and Technology since 2013. So you've been the secretary for 2 years. Were you aware of these expired authorizations prior to submitting the 2024 budget request?
As I said, this is I respect Congress's authority. It's up to Congress to decide what to authorize, what to appropriate, and how to make those decisions. My job, and I am faithfully undertaking that, is to administer appropriated monies consistent with the law, with transparency, and accountability to taxpayers.
Okay, well, you know, in Congress we have authorizing committees and we have appropriating. We have one appropriating committee, this one, and we have 18 or 19 authorizing committees. And every department of the federal government has an authorizing committee that authorizes its use, or that authorizes whether it exists, that legally authorizes it, okay? And I'm puzzled as to why the Department of Commerce has not requested authorization from the authorizing committees.
As I said, we could take that up with the authorizing committees.
That would be great. That would be the Energy and Commerce Committee and potentially the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, I guess. Your department is broken down through both authorizing.
That's what happens when you cover everything from fish to space.
I get it. All right. So do you think it's not your responsibility to go get an authorization from Congress?
It's never my responsibility to tell Congress what to do. My responsibility is to carry out my job in the confines of Congress's intent, which is what we're doing.
Okay. Well, you know, I know that I'm new to the Appropriations Committee, but I've been learning the processes of it. And I just want to ensure that there's proper oversight and accountability are afforded to the federal responsibilities and to tax dollar expenditures. I know past appropriators may not have strictly adhered to this process, but this majority came in on a commitment to regular order. And regular order means that you have an authorization and then you appropriate to that authorization. If you do not have an authorization, how can you appropriate to something that doesn't exist?
Once again, that to me is in Congress's jurisdiction, and so I'll leave it to you and your colleagues to sort through those issues.
Well, I hope that you will take this then and go to the appropriate authorizing committees and request the appropriate authorizations, because it's going to be difficult to support an appropriation without an authorization.
Thank you.
And thank you, and I yield back.
Okay.
I'd like to follow up on Rep. Elsie's questions regarding the census, who gets counted?
Who gets counted? Everyone who lives in the country gets counted.
Everyone who lives in the country, okay. So does that include illegals and permanent residents?
If you live here, yes. There's no citizenship requirement, nor should there be.
Okay, so in the last 2 years, over 6 million illegals have entered our country. Illegals cannot vote. Only citizens can vote, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so therefore, the more illegals that enter the country, that then disproportionately disenfranchises those of us who are citizens who can vote because we don't have proper representation. Is that not right?
I would dispute that characterization, but my job is to run the census faithfully in accordance with the law and the Constitution, to count everyone who lives here, and that is what we are doing faithfully.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll just have to disagree on that where it comes to citizens versus illegals, because I think that that disproportionately, for any particular area, it disproportionately disenfranchises the American citizen, because then it takes fewer citizens to create one particular representative, and more illegals then can do that. I mean, if you look at the 6 million illegals, that's the equivalent of what, 12 congressional seats? No, not 12, 9 congressional seats. That's a lot of people. Thank you, and I yield back.